How are you this morning? Good. First day back after a long weekend. Are you feeling great? Yeah, you came in so ready for chapel, and I was really proud of you for walking in so nicely. Seems like you're ready to get back to school, yes? I am. I know I didn't hear anybody say no. I know you're all raring to go this morning. So we have a couple of things before I bring up some friends to help me introduce, and welcome to Mrs. Batson's class as you're on the stage here ready to roll. I think everybody's here too, right? Awesome. Okay. Oh, we're missing some friends in some other classes. Okay, maybe they'll come a little later. So, Mr. Weinstein, can you show that slide? We had a big thing that happened to a couple of our students. Where are Ella and Maya Toomey? Do you want to stand up for a second? There, stand up. So help me explain all this, but I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, your team, your ice hockey team, both Ella and Maya are on an ice hockey team, which is so cool. Is that not cool? That's pretty cool, right? So they got to skate on the ice where our own Philadelphia Flyers play. So show the next slide, Mr. Weinstein. Look at this. So this is, have any of you been to a Flyers game before? Yeah? So you know, this is huge. They got to skate on the ice, right? Ella, am I right? Maya, am I right? Before the Flyers came on, your team got to skate on the ice. So huge thrill at the Wells Fargo Center. Show the next picture, please. This is their team, which I have to admire their awesome jerseys, right? Where's Mrs. Kelly? Mrs. Kelly, do you love that uniform? All of the Philadelphia Flyers fans, I know, love that uniform. But way to go. What an experience for Ella and Maya. Let's give them a round of applause. And thanks for sharing that moment with us. That's pretty special. All right, so we have big chapel today. Reminder that we've been away from campus for a few days, and I woke up last night thinking, oh my goodness, we have chapel in the morning, and all these students are so ready, and with all the preparation we did right before the break, right? But we have been away for a few days. But I want to thank Ruhan Saini and Madison Byers. Come on up, because they are my 5th grade introduction students today. And they are ready, and I'm so appreciative for the work they did over the break to get ready. But a couple of things about these two students. Madison just informed me she is on an undefeated girls basketball team, along with, let me make sure I get this right, McKenna, Nora, and Olivia. Is that right? And you're undefeated, which is awesome, so way to go, Madison and her team. And Ruhan is about to take his 2nd degree black belt test this Friday. 2nd degree, not 1st degree, 2nd. So huge, is that right? Huge achievement for Ruhan. So I know we'll all be thinking of him on Friday when he takes that big test. So take it away, my friends. We're going to introduce announcements and the 4th grade chapel.
Good morning. Hope you had a great long midwinter break. What did you do this weekend in the snow? Anyone? What did you do? You sledded? Good. You sledded? I guess a lot of people sledded. It was good snow for sledding. Wow. That's cool.
This weekend is a special night out for the parents called A Night for Monty. There are lots of items available for the benefit. Last year, my parents bought ahead of school for the day, so someday coming in soon, I will be in charge. Your parents can bid on many items too. We have the pleasure of introducing Mrs. Batson's class chapel today. Mrs. Batson has been here for her 23 years.
We were her first class of 4th graders. Before that, Miss Batson taught 5th grade for many years. She knew how to prepare us to be amazing 5th graders.
She was so nice and encouraged us always to do our best. We really liked math with her. She made it so fun. Who knew turning fractions into decimals could be fun?
I enjoyed doing morning meeting announcements with the huge microphone, which made the day more captivating and exciting. We loved doing Google Slides and finding news around the world, and we learned so much about humans, animals, and events.
One of the things we love learning about Mrs. Batson is that she loves sloths. We love surprising her on her birthday. She loves surprises. We love how much she cares about people and this community. And now we present Mrs. Batson's Class Chapel.
Good morning, Charlotte.
Good morning to you too, Charlotte. Let's begin our class chapel.
Welcome to our class chapel, celebrating Black history. We have researched several important Black history individuals that you may have not heard of.
We hope you learn some things today about African Americans who contributed to our nation's history and the world.
Let's remember to not celebrate Black history not only in February, but all year long.
Before we begin, we would like to thank the following people who helped us with our chapel: Mr. Weinstein for tech support and Mrs. Song for providing the music for us.
Hi, Lily.
Hi, Ava.
Let's tell everyone about how our chapel idea came about.
Great idea.
One day, Mrs. Clay came into Mrs. Batson's classroom with a box of books. She thought many of them would be great for the fourth grade.
She's right. In the middle of the pile was a book about celebrating Black history. 28 days, and wow, our chapel idea was born.
Thank you, Mrs. Clay, for inspiring us for our chapel.
Now we will watch a brief video that summarizes Black History Month very nicely. Thank you.
The month of February is designated as Black History Month. In the United States, it is a time to honor the important role African Americans play in the story of our country. The idea began as a week-long celebration in 1926, organized by historian Carter G. Woodson and others. It coincides with the birthplace of Frederick Douglass, a brilliant orator who escaped slavery and spent the rest of his life working to stop it, and President Abraham Lincoln, who issued the Emancipation Proclamation during the Civil War, which led to the eventual end of slavery in the U.S. Others who fought to end slavery include famous women like Sojourner Truth and Harriet Tubman. Woodson's idea caught on, and soon schools and communities around the country began organizing celebrations, starting history clubs and hosting events to learn more about Black history and culture. The Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s sparked even greater interest in the many accomplishments of notable African Americans, who excelled in all areas of life despite obstacles and hardships, like scientist George Washington Carver, educator Mary McLeod Bethune, baseball great Jackie Robinson, entertainer Oprah Winfrey, and President Barack Obama. Black history is American history. Black History Month is a special time to focus on and learn more about Black culture and people of African descent who have made American life richer. How is Black History Month celebrated in your school or community?
Hi, Eliana.
Hi, Everly and Penny. Do you want to hear what I found out about Black History Month?
Yes, we do, and we have some things to tell you and everyone else too.
Historian Carter G. Woodson co-founded a group that studied Black history. In 1926, the group declared the second week of February as Black History Week to recognize African Americans in the U.S. history.
The week-long event became Black History Month in 1976 when U.S. President Gerald Ford extended the recognition to honor Black Americans in every area of our history.
Black History Month has been celebrated in the United States every February since. Did you know that there is a flag that launches Black History Month?
Here
comes Gary and Ryan to tell us about the Pan-African flag. Let's listen.
Hi, Gary. How are you?
Hi, Ryan. I am fine. Hi, Ryan. I am fine. You?
I'm fine too. I'm curious. What do you have there?
I have the Pan-African flag with me today. I have one for you to hold too.
Oh, yes. I remember now. The Pan-African flag is used to launch at the beginning of Black History Month.
The colors of the flag are red, black, and green.
Red stands for the sacrifices made by Black people throughout the world over the years.
Black honors Black people and their strength.
Green represents the abundance of Africans' vegetation.
This flag was created by Marcus Garvey in 1920 to serve as a symbol to connect people of African heritage across the world. Next up are Jason and Jack to tell us about the theme of Black History Month 2024.
Hi, Jason. Hi, Jack. I know that our class is learning more about Black history.
Yes, we are.
Did you know that there is a theme for Black history every year?
No, I didn't know that.
Okay, let's tell everyone about that now. Carter Woodston's organization assigns a theme each year.
I see.
The theme for this year is African Americans and the arts.
What about Black History today? Do any other countries celebrate Black history?
Wait, here comes Marcus and Ben to tell us about that.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Marcus.
Let's tell everyone about how Black history is celebrated today.
Good idea.
Since 1926, some countries have joined the United States in celebrating Black people and their contribution, including Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, and the Netherlands.
Today, Black History Month continues to be honored Black people and their contribution, and by studying the achievements of Black people year-round.
I see Liam and Charlie are here to tell us about traditional tributes of Black history. Thank you.
Hi, Charlie.
Hi, Liam.
Let's talk about some familiar names in Black history that everybody knows about.
Sounds great.
Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. fought for equal rights for blacks during 1950s and 60s.
Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American justice, was appointed to the United States Supreme Court in 1967.
There's also Mae Jemison, who became the first female African-American astronaut to travel to space in 1992.
Let's not forget that Barack Obama was elected the first ever African-American president of the United States in 2008.
Today, we would like to recognize some more significant individuals in Black history that you may not have heard of.
We will now present our recognitions of these wonderful people.
My name is Ryan Chowdhury, and I'm recognizing Crispus Attucks. Crispus Attucks was born in 1723 in Massachusetts. His accomplishments in history is that he was considered to be a patriot. A patriot is a person who supports their country. He was the first person who died in the Boston Massacre in 1770, as well as the first person who gave his life for the American Revolution. He helped America what it is today. Without Crispus Attucks, America may still be the 13 colonies. Did you know he continued to have the biggest impact in American history? If I had the chance to meet Crispus Attucks and ask him a question, I would ask, did he like being a patriot? The most interesting thing I found about Crispus Attucks was even after 200 years, songs, stories, and television still talk about him, and schools have been named for him. I've learned it's important to celebrate Black history because Black people made a difference not only in Black history but also in American history. Thank you.
My name is Ben, and I am recognizing Gilbert Heron. Gilbert Heron was born on April 2nd, 1922. Gilbert Heron's accomplishments. When Gilbert Heron was a young man, he played track and field and soccer. When he was in high school, he played football. As an adult in 1945, while playing for a soccer team in Detroit, he scored an amazing 44 goals in 14 games. At age 24, he played for the Detroit Wolverines in 1946 and became the National Soccer League's most exciting player. He scored a hat-trick in the first game in Chicago. In 1947, he was the only black professional soccer player in the country. Later, he moved to Scotland and played on one of the biggest soccer clubs in the world, the Celtics Football Club. Interesting facts. Did you know Gilbert Heron was the first professional black soccer player in the United States? He was called the Babe Ruth of soccer in 1947. If I had a chance to meet Gilbert Heron, I would ask him, how many dribbles did you get before you shot the ball?
My name is Charlotte Dale, and I am recognizing Faith Ringgold. Faith Ringgold was born on October 8, 1930, in New York City. Faith Ringgold went to a New York City college. She traveled to Europe, Paris, Florence, and Rome to get inspiration to make artwork. Faith likes to make children's books like Tar Beach. Faith Ringgold began her painting career in the 1950s after receiving her degree. Her early work is composed with flat figures and shapes. Without Faith Ringgold, the inspiring book Tar Beach that made people think about Black history would not have been made. The most interesting thing I found about Faith Ringgold was Faith stated she switched from painting to fabric to get away from the association of painting with Western European traditions. Thank you.
My name is Ileana Francois, and I am recognizing Frances Allen Watkins Harper. Frances Allen Watkins Harper was born on February 22, 1911, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Frances's parents, whose names are unknown, both died in 1828, making Frances an orphan at the age of 3. She was raised by her aunt and uncle, Henrietta and Rev. William J. Watkins, Sr., who gave her their last name. Frances was an American author, orator, and social reformer who was notable for her poetry, speeches, and essays on audiblism, which means getting rid of slavery and women's rights. She helped enslaved people become free. Frances wanted to make things better for women and Black people. Did you know she was the first to publish a short story? The most interesting thing I found out about Frances Harper was that she was the first Black woman to be a teacher at Union Seminary, a school in Ohio. I have learned that it is important to celebrate Black history because it is nice to recognize these people that some people do not know about. Thank you.
My name is Charlie Hoover, and I am recognizing Henry Johnson. Henry Johnson was born on July 15th, 1982. Henry Johnson was a soldier who fought in the 1st African-American unit of the United States Army to engage in combat during World War I. On watch in Argonne Forest on May 14th, 1918, he fought off a German raid in hand-to-hand combat and rescued a friend while suffering 21 wounds. Without Henry Johnson, his friend would have died in World War I. He had his action denied for an award because of his skin color. The most interesting thing If I had the chance to meet Henry Johnson and ask him a question, I would ask, why did you save your friend in the middle of a battle? The most interesting thing I found about Henry Johnson was that he was the first American of any race to receive the French Croix de Guerre award. Thank you.
My name is Jason Hu, and I am recognizing Matthew Alexander Henson. Matthew Alexander Henson was born on August 8, 1866, in Jemoy, Maryland. Matthew Henson traveled the world when he was 13. In 1909, he journeyed to the North Pole and succeeded. Henson was awarded the Hubbard Medal 94 years later than Robert Peary. Robert Peary was the one who invited Matthew Henson to travel with him to the North Pole. Matthew may be the first person to stand at the North Pole. When Henson was only about 13, he went to work on a sailing ship. Henson was reburied in a military ceremony at Arlington National Cemetery. If I had a chance to meet Matthew Henson and ask Matthew Henson a question, I would ask, how did it feel when you reached the North Pole? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Charlotte Jaworski, and I am recognizing Sister Rosetta Tharpe. Sister Rosetta Tharpe was born on March 20th, 1915, in Cotton Plant, Arkansas. Her accomplishments in history was Sister Rosetta Tharpe was born an American singer and guitarist. She played and sang gospel music in the 1930s and 40s. She was the first great recording star of gospel music. Sister Rosetta Tharpe's music was liked by rhythm and blues and rock and roll audiences. She is often referred to as the godmother of rock and roll. Lastly, her electric guitar technique gave way to the rise of electric blues among her songs you may recognize Down by the Riverside. Did you know she had 4 names? Rosetta Newman, Rosetta Atkins, Rosetta Thorpe, and Sister Rosetta Tharpe? And that she got married 2 times. She also died of stroke at age 58. The most interesting thing I found about Sister Rosetta Tharpe was that she wrote 58 songs in her lifetime and died at age 58.
Hi, my name is Penny Lee, and I'm recognizing Bessie Coleman. Bessie Coleman was born on January 26, 1892, in Atlanta, Texas. Their accomplishments in history. Bessie Coleman proved white U.S. pilots wrong by going to France and following her dreams to become a pilot. France at the time was a more welcoming country for black people. She attended 1 term of college at Langston University. She saved and obtained sponsorships in Chicago to go to France for flight school. Without Bessie Coleman, no one would believe that black females could become a pilot. Question: if I had a chance to meet Bessie Coleman and ask her a question, I would ask, what did you do as a child? Thank you for listening.
My name is Everly Luminella, and I am recognizing Althea Gibson. Althea Gibson was born on 1927 in Silver, South Carolina. Her accomplishments in history is having 56 career titles in tennis, including in 1981 she was honored at an Althea Gibson Foundation for her stroke she had in 1980. She raised over $100,000 for scholarships and youth development programs. Also in 1981, she was elected to the International Tennis Hall of Fame. Althea Gibson was the first African-American woman to achieve a tennis title. Interesting facts. Althea Gibson was the first African American tennis player to compete at the U.S. National Championships in 1950. The most interesting thing I found about Althea Gibson was that she has her own statue in New York City. It was made on 2019. Thank you.
My name is Ava Michelli, and I'm recognizing Janet Collins. Janet Collins was born on March 7, 1917, in New Orleans. Their accomplishment, Janet Collins wanted to be a ballerina in the 1930s and 40s, a time when people were separated by their skin color, was widespread in the United States. Janet persisted with dance with passion, despite being rejected from dance schools that didn't accept people with different skin color. Without Janet Collins, she wouldn't have broken the color barrier and would not have been the first Black woman to go to the Metropolitan Opera. If I had a chance to meet Janet Collins, I would ask her a question: why did you dance and not give up because of your color? The most interesting thing I found about Janet Collins was in 1974, the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater paid homage to keep her and Pearl Primus as pioneering a Black woman. I have learned it is important to celebrate Black History Month because if we did not celebrate it, the world would be full of hate and people with black skin would be so upset with their skin color. We need to celebrate Black History Month and their achievements. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gary Ott, and I am recognizing James Armistead Lafayette. He was born in 1748 on his master's farm as an enslaved person in Virginia. Our accomplishments in history. One of James Armistead's accomplishments was being a spy during the American Revolution. He was a double agent pretending to work for the British Army, but was actually loyal to the Patriots. He told the British false information about the Americans. Armistead told the French Marquis de Lafayette that British General Charles Cornwallis would travel by sea to Yorktown. Later, the Americans went to Yorktown, where the British surrendered and the Revolutionary War was over. Without James Armistead Lafayette, we wouldn't have known where the British were going to go. I have learned that it's important to celebrate Black history because Black people have made history in many ways. Thank you.
My name is Lily Pizanka, and I am recognizing Alice Coachman. Alice Coachman was born on November 9th, 1923. At the 1948 Olympics, Alice Coachman was the only African-American woman to win a gold medal in high jump. Her jump of 5 feet 6 inches set American and Olympic records. Coachman retired in 1948, 4 years later. She became the first Black female athlete to endorse an international consumer product when she was hired to promote the soft drink Coca-Cola. Coachman later raised a family and became a teacher. She died on July 14th, 2014 in Albany, Georgia. The most interesting fact I found out about Alice Coachman was that she won 25 AAU indoor and outdoor titles. If I had a chance to meet Alice Coachman and ask her a question, I would ask her, what does it feel like to compete in the Olympics? Thank you.
My name is Liam Rager, and I am recognizing Willie O'Ree. Willie O'Ree was born on October 15th, 1935. His family members included 13 siblings, and him being the youngest. He was the first Black hockey player in the NHL, and he's considered the Jackie Robinson of hockey. In 1958, against the Montreal Canadiens, he became the first Black player in the league history. Since 1998, O'Ree has been in the NHL Diversity Ambassador, traveling across North America to talk to others about inclusion, dedication, and confidence. Interesting facts about Willie O'Ree. He is still alive at 88 years old, and he is left-handed. The most interesting fact I learned about Will Urey is that he played for the Boston Bruins in the left wing position. Thank you.
My name is Marcus Sabo, and I'm recognizing Arthur Wharton. Arthur Wharton was born on October 28, 1865, in Ghana. His family members include his father, Henry, and his mother, Annie. Both of his grandfathers were Scottish, and one of his grandmothers had been a slave. In 2003, Walton was inducted into the English Soccer Hall of Fame. He was considered to be the first black pro soccer player and the fastest man in the world at the time. Arthur played goalie for Darlington in his youth. He also played it for a number of pro soccer clubs. In 1894, he made history as the official fastest man on the planet, breaking records, barriers, and paving the way for black athletes across the world in soccer, rugby, cricket, and cycling. Without Arthur Wharton, black youth may have missed out on knowing him as a role model in many sports, but particularly English soccer. If I had a chance to meet Arthur Wharton and ask him a question, I would ask Arthur, what was your favorite goal you scored, and show me your celebration dance. Thank you.
My name is Jack Viverka, and I'm recognizing Fritz Pollard. Pollard was born on January 7th, 1894, in Chicago, Illinois. Fritz Pollard was the first African-American NFL coach and one of the first two African-American players in the NFL. He was also the first African-American football player at Brown University. Later, after college, he played professional football with the Akron Pros. Later in his life, he founded the Brown Bombers, a professional football team. In addition to football, Fritz also had interest in film and music production. He founded the New York Independent News, the first African-American-owned tabloid in New York City. Some interesting facts about Fritz Pollard are that he went to Brown University and majored in chemistry. After he died, he was voted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame and the Rose Bowl Hall of Fame. The Fritz Pollard Alliance, a group that promotes minority hiring in the NFL, is also named after him. Thank you.
Garrett Morgan was,
Our names are Charlie Hoover and Liam Ringer, and we are recognizing Garrett Morgan.
Garrett Morgan was an African-American inventor and a community leader, and a part of, he invented the gas mask, traffic signal, and part of the sewing machine, and many more.
In 1916, he rescued two workers trapped in a water tunnel using a smoke design hood. All his life, Garrett Morgan helped to support Black Americans by opposing racial discrimination.
Our names are Ava Michelli and Lily Pizanka. We are recognizing Jane Browlin. Jane Browlin was a smart woman who wanted to study law. She was the first African-American woman to graduate from Yale's law school in 1931. She passed the bar exam in 1932, and she worked at her father's law firm at first.
In 1939, she was appointed to be judge of family court in New York. Jane worked with many families at first. African-American woman judge, she brought many changes to New York's legal system.
Benjamin Clancy and Jack Paverka. And
we are recognizing Benjamin O. Davis
Jr. Their accomplishments in history. Benjamin O. Davis Jr. was the first African American to serve as a General U.S. Air Force.
He was commander of the Takasigri Airmen during World War II.
Benjamin Davis was a commander of pilots in the Korean War.
He received 4 general stars, making him a general of the highest order within the U.S. military. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our names are Brian Chaudhry and Gary Ott, and we are recognizing Earl Francis Lloyd. Their accomplishments in history. Earl Lloyd was an American professional basketball player and coach. He was the first African American player to play a game in the NBA on October 31st, 1950. He played basketball for the West Virginia State University.
Lloyd helped the Senior Continental Nationals to the 1955 NBA championships. Lloyd was introduced to the Naismith into the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame in 2003. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our names are Charlotte Dale,
Charlotte J.,
and Penny Lee.
and we are recognizing Claudette Colvin.
When Claudette Colvin was 15 years old, on March 2nd, 1955, she was riding a bus in Montgomery, Alabama. The driver asked her to give up her seat for a white person.
She refused, saying she had the right to sit there. Her action went against the laws of the times. She was taken to jail and fined. This event happened before Rosa Parks' bus incident.
Colvin was one of the 3 women who protested against the unfair bus laws. In 1956, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the woman, making separation of races on buses illegal.